What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. And it is a rare day where the day that we get to go live is the day where we actually get Ravens news. So it's very exciting that we get to go live, talk about this, give all of our thoughts and analysis on it. And if you're watching this in post, it is a live stream. Most of the times in live stream, we kind of skip back and forth, talk about a whole lot of things. We're probably going to stay pretty focused on Mike Macdonald. And if you guys did not know, it is expected that Mike Macdonald will be hired as the coach. A deal could be done within a week or so. Now, it's not 100% finalized. However, the reports have been saying that this is the guy leading the charge. This is the guy they want. And he also wants to return to the NFL. And quick background, he was with the Ravens for 7 years. Was the Ravens linebackers coach in 2020, left the Ravens after 2020, was the defensive coordinator at Michigan last season, and then now is obviously returning is expected to be returning to the Ravens. And now for the rest of the show, we're not going to be saying expected to. We're going to say he's coming to Baltimore. So just a preface for the beginning, we're going to be saying he's coming. It's expected that he's coming. But he was in the running for the Ravens defensive coordinator job after Dean Pease left in 2018. Did not get it. Wink Martindale got it, but it ended up being that he looks like he's coming back to Baltimore. Joshua, what are you thinking about this move?
Just before we, went live, I want to say the last episode we recorded together, or whether we went live, I said, we got to make a splash. We got to go outhouse. Technically, we kind of went outhouse, but still, he already had background. And, really, he was, quote, unquote, been supposed to be Wink Martindale's successor already in the making. He got his chance to be a defensive coordinator in Michigan. He turned around that defense. What it was like, I think the previous year they gave up about it was like 480 yards or something like that.
I have the stats if you want me to go through what they changed into becoming. All right. It's in my liked tweets real quick. Let's see. The Michigan defense, I want to say that they were around 80th in the country, in the FBS in terms of defense. And then last year they were like a top 5 defense.
See?
So that's a big change.
That speaks a lot of volume. So, if he can come in and do the same thing on the NFL level, especially, he already has the background. He knows the organization. He's 34 years old. So, there's a lot of upside to this situation right here. Now, before everybody gets, crazy by the time April hits, we do not know if we're going to use our 14th pick to draft a guy out of Michigan. I know people, okay, yeah, we're gonna get Mike Macdonald. Let's go get, one of the defensive players out of Michigan. If it happens, if one of those guys fall in our lap, so be it. I'm all for it. But if it doesn't, do not get upset, do not get mad. I feel like, this is the start of change. I was very upset to hear that they that they're nearing an extension for John Harbaugh, but this is some upside for the day.
Absolutely. And I think that one big thing to talk about is I'm going to go through a couple of comments really quickly here. Julian says that he was hoping Brian Flores would get a chance. I really do like Brian Flores. I was hoping he'd get a chance at head coach, honestly.
Yeah, he really needs to be a head coach.
Yeah. How will he do? Let's talk about this. I think this is a great spot to start. Now, Joshua, you brought up the way that he changed that Michigan defense, right? Aiden Hutchinson was not seen as a top 2 player in this upcoming draft. Not at all. Everybody was like, oh, Thibodeau. Yeah. Not going to lie, I'm still Thibodeau. But he's in the conversation. Hutchinson, made that jump, all right? Ojabo, what's good? I'm not trying to say these guys were scrubs or anything like that, but they were able to just come in and just absolutely take the stage unexpectedly, right? Michigan was unranked coming into the season. They were the first unranked team at the beginning of the season to ever make the college football playoff, and they were led by their defense.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming in from a guy that was the first year there. This wasn't a guy that over 5 years he developed a defense. No, he comes in and makes a change. And I'm going to read something. I don't know where this came from. I've been seeing this image circulating on Twitter of like a screenshot of of an article. And I'm going to read it out loud, talking about, what happened at Michigan. It says, Macdonald was previously the Ravens linebackers coach, a team that had the number one ranked blitz percentage in 2020 at 44.1%. The perception was Macdonald would blitz in abundance, and the linebackers would factor into that equation. However, with Michigan having two of the best edge rushers in college football, Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo, the need to send more pass rushers wasn't all that necessary. This was a nice change of pace compared to the blitz-heavy scheme of previous defensive coordinator Don Brown, whose scheme became increasingly predictable throughout his time at Michigan. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like Wink Martindale right there? Michigan's defense was still an attacking style, but not reckless in nature. One change was mixing in more zone coverages and disguising coverages. The way linebackers lined up before the snap, the mix of man and zone were beneficial adjustments that aided the unit. Now, this is my favorite part right here. Consistently giving up big chunk plays on shallow crossers and mesh patterns became a thing of the past. Isn't that what we're trying to fix?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
So I think he'll do really good. I mean, he's coming from the Raven system, but at the same time, what I love about this is we have been calling for a change, right? And obviously he's from the Ravens organization, but he's young. And I love that the Ravens are bringing in someone young. That's what I've been pulling for. You guys know I really liked Kellen Moore. Brian Flores isn't too old, I don't believe. I think he's a relatively young coach. He's not crazy young, but he's relatively young. Like, I want someone that's going to bring something new. And Mike is absolutely someone that can do that. Now, he may not come in and be like, I'm going to change this whole defense in 1 year. But it's something where it's like, all right, hey, I tested it out at Michigan. It worked. Now, obviously, it's college. It's a different game in the NFL. But overall, that type of success in one guy is unbelievable. And I did not know this about David Ojabo. He was a Dafe's high school teammate. Did not know that. I did not know that. That is very, very interesting.
Now it makes more sense on why everybody keeps on saying use that 14th pick. I even saw someone say maybe use the trade the two fours to get Daniel Falahi as well. I'm like, are we going to make major moves like this? I mean, I did say that first, second, and third round are crucial to this upcoming year play, because right now we're going to have Greg Roman. Right now, the extension talk for John Harbaugh is in the air. So expect a couple more years of John Harbaugh. But this right here, if we go back to a defense that can win us a championship, I'm gonna have to take my wins with my losses at this point.
And I love this too. This is from Chris Reed. I think how young Macdonald is at 34, we may be able to have a successor to John Harbaugh when he leaves. That's love.
First, we got to figure out how long that extension is going to be, though.
I hope it doesn't get done.
Me neither. I'm gonna be honest.
Let's have it be 1 year, see how he does, and then figure out if we're gonna extend him or not. But I would love for it to just be like, oh yeah, we'll save it for a year. The defense is amazing. The offense is still struggling. Fire Harbaugh, maybe promote him. Obviously that's projecting a lot, but I do love the idea of having a young coach and having a young guy with these new ideas, because those are the guys that we're seeing being difference makers when they come to new teams. It's rare in the NFL where we're seeing oh yeah, this team all of a sudden is really good. It's because they brought in a new coach. Now, you could say that about Bruce Arians, but you also have to point out he got a guy named Tom Brady. So yeah, they got better. You look at the teams in the, AFC and NFC championship games. Let's look at their coaches. Sean McVay came in very young, turned that team around. Kyle Shanahan, very young, turned that team around. Who's the Bengals coach? Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor. And
Zach
also
Taylor.
by Green Bay with LaFleur.
LaFleur, also very young, ended up losing to the Niners, another young coach. But then Zach Taylor, very young, comes in, turns that team around. He gets Joe Burrow, but he helps really turn that team around organizationally and culturally. Now then there's Andy Reid, but Andy Reid has Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid has always been a good coach. And when he came to the Chiefs, like they were good. So like overall, these young guys are starting to take over. And I like the idea that the Ravens, they're not going, hey, Rob Ryan, let's give him that shot, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to hate on Rob Ryan or anything, but the young guys, I feel like, are adapting. Whether or not we like it, I don't really like it. I'm not going to lie. I love old school football. But the rest of the league is adapting to new school football, which makes it harder to play old school. Like, it just makes it that much harder. And so getting a guy that can maybe go with that new school, because if you guys didn't know how football works, the evolution of football, it starts at the high school level, which is weird. But high school level develops into the NFL. It's not the other way around. It's not like the NBA, where in the NBA, like all of a sudden Steph Curry's just like, all right, I'm going to start jacking up threes. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, all right, we're in high school. We're going to start jacking up threes.
Right.
No, in high school, teams start going, hey, we got an athletic quarterback here. Let's really utilize him, run that, that read option, go crazy. Then all of a sudden some college teams are like, hey, this is kind of nice. Let's go this up tempo. Let's, run the read option, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden the Baltimore Ravens go, you know what? Let's do that. Let's bring in Lamar Jackson. Let's build that up. Let's bring in the RPOs. Let's bring in all this stuff. Now, other teams are doing that as well, but it starts at the high school level. Him coming from college, even though it was only 1 year at college, I think helps him just be like, hey, this is what's going to be happening in the future. It's not going to be next year. They're not going to adapt in 1 year, but in 5 years, the NFL is going to look a little bit different. It looks a lot different from what it did 5 years ago. So those types of things I really like to pay attention to in how the Ravens are going to be approaching the future. And I like them going younger.
It's definitely funny. It's funny that you definitely say that, because a lot of teams, as we look at it, a lot of these guys run OU, Oklahoma University, and Texas Tech style of offenses, that air raid. If you got a gunslinger back there, they're gonna sling it. And not to me, and it's and you can tell the NFL is evolving, because me, I love my running backs, but the running back is not being valued as it once was. The only team that's valuing that running back truly is Tennessee. Everything runs through Derrick Henry, and even when Derrick Henry went down, Foreman, I thought he was another. He literally was a replica of Derrick Henry, just wasn't as tall, but he was getting the job done as well. So I mean, it's definitely to get a younger guy in that understands that, hey, we need to evolve. We need to be with the times. We need to be on top of the game, because at one point we were on top of the heap, and now we outside looking in. I think this is definitely going to be a good move, and just for the simple fact that he knows how to disguise. He's not always blitz heavy or blitz oriented, and that he's willing to run zone and stuff like that. That is going to be very helpful, because it was so many times this year where we're down our starters. How many times did Wink Martindale run, still man-to-man, zero coverage, and still, wanted to believe in the guys, knowing that, our personnel wasn't the best at that moment in time. And it's not a bash on Wink Martindale, but, we've had our concerns with Wink. Now, granted, we have a bigger concern with Greg Roman, but, to see one issue get squared away, it's a relief almost, going into knowing what we're getting ourselves into. Unfortunately, the Ravens move very slow when it comes to news and making noise. Hopefully, the deal doesn't get done with John Harbaugh. Hopefully, we do hear about, we're finally letting go of Greg Roman and stuff like that. But right now, only thing we can do is, keeps our fingers crossed and hope that Mike Macdonald does sign the deal and comes on back to Baltimore.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Ravens are not one to make splashes, especially not early. They like to wait. They like to stick with the past. I mean, look at the way they play their team. They're a run heavy, defense oriented team, and I love that. I love that about the Ravens. But like overall, it's going to be really interesting. And talking about Ojabo, and I will come back to this comment, but Hutchinson was a second rounder at best. Ojabo was a fourth round projection. Now a top 3 pick and a first rounder for what the Ravens want. For those that want pass rush, the Ravens can use pass rush, right? If you're bringing in a guy that has helped not only develop an excellent pass rush like he did at Michigan, but he also brought a projected middle of the draft safety into the top tier of the draft at that position. So overall, like when you're looking at the safeties, like Daxton Hill is, he's right up there. He's definitely in the top 3. So those are 2 positions that the Ravens are looking at in this draft. Edge to go alongside Odafe Owe, and safety to probably replace Deshaun Elliott and eventually maybe Chuck Clark. And, we'll see what he's able to do, even just developing Brandon Stevens, developing Geno Stone, all those guys. Like those are all guys that, can make differences. And defense does matter. The Bills' defense was just heavily overrated because they got to play against a lot of really bad offenses. Because if you look at their division, they play the Jets twice, the Dolphins twice, and the Patriots twice, none of which have good offenses. So they aren't the best defense in the NFL. Statistically, they were. But I felt like they were a good defense. They weren't a great defense. And also, I don't know why they didn't squib kick that ball, but I will take it. I picked the Chiefs to win that game. So, them not squibbing it, whatever.
That definitely was a slugfest. I would say the Bills defense, they are aggressive. They definitely are aggressive. Now, the only thing was they just couldn't stop the Kansas City. Like you said, they wasn't playing some of the best teams, that whole season. And that's what happens. I mean, hell, look at our schedule for this upcoming season. It's really not the best. So I'm not going to say we're bound to make the playoffs, but if things go in the right way and things go, in a positive direction, possibly we will be in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, I think looking at what the Ravens are going to be able to do, it's got to start from the defense, and then they got to build up because we have the quarterback, we have the offensive pieces already. So when in this build the defense, and then fire the offensive coordinator. But the second part's not really going to happen. But the Ravens, they know how to build a defense, and unfortunately, they had lost the pieces, right? Like they built up a great defense, right? The 2000 Ravens. Then eventually they lost some of those pieces and they kind of rebuilt a new defense. They still had Ray Lewis, but they built up a new defense with Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs and those guys. And then all of a sudden they started losing those pieces. And then they were like, all right, we'll kind of patch it up with Marlon and CJ Mosley. And I was like, okay, now we've really lost everybody.
Don't forget
and so
Arthur Brown.
Who? Wait, sorry. Who'd you say?
Before CJ, we had Arthur Brown.
Yes, Arthur Brown. Yes. But overall, the Ravens are now in that new frontier of needing, okay, now we got to fully rebuild that. Yeah. And, they have some great pieces to work with. Marlon Humphrey, great piece to work with. Patrick Queen, very young, still a bit inexperienced, but has shown so many great flashes to where it's like, okay, that guy can be a Pro Bowl level linebacker. Now, he's also had a lot of difficulties in some areas, but he's shown that potential. Thus, bringing in a defensive coordinator that was a linebackers coach could be pretty good. And then we have Odafe Owe, inexperienced, but has shown a ton of flashes. Bringing in a guy that helped turn a projected 4th-round pick into a 1st-round pick in 1 year and a potential 2nd-round pick into a guaranteed top 3 pick, potential number 1 pick. That's going to help with that as well. And then also, having Brandon Stevens, like they have pieces to work with. And now having a young guy that can go, okay, we have 10 picks in this year's draft. We're probably going to focus heavily on defense. We can look at him and say, what do you want? What do you want to build? Very different from Wink Martindale, because Wink Martindale, we saw this year, he didn't have the players out there that he needed. Mike Macdonald is going to be able to say what players he wants, what players he needs, and be able to build that scheme around all of that. And I'm very excited for that. And I think that's crucial to rebuilding, is having someone that can build what they want. Because having a coach try and coach someone they don't want to coach is not going to work out.
Yeah, we've seen that way too many times. Ron Rivera, Dwayne Haskins, Brian Flores, and Tua.
Yes.
It's been so many different issues. We've seen around the league, just to name off a few. But hey, if we go all in on defense, let's get some corners, let's get some edge rushers, some guys we can switch out as 4-3-3-4 guys. I still would love to get a right tackle, because I actually saw in someone's mock draft recently us getting Trevor Penning at 14. I'm like,
it's a bit early.
Yeah, as nice as Trevor Penning is like, he'll be there. And if not, we can get someone else, but who you recommend getting with the 14th pick in the draft and why? We got to start with that secondary. And I'm going with Sauce. Going with Sauce Gardner or Stingley, because this, I would say, once the signing has been made with Mike Macdonald, being our defensive coordinator, this will change the trajectory for a lot of guys being picked up in this year's upcoming draft. Because at the end of the day, people want to try to pick up, I believe, in my opinion, Adam and David early because of Mike Macdonald, being part of the Ravens. And they know if the Ravens get another guy across from Odafe Owe, which I feel like Tyus will actually work pretty well with Odafe on the opposite side. But even bring back Zadarius Smith, who knows? They're definitely going to try to move. They're going to move quickly on that. But let's not forget, Trayvon Walker will be out there, in that first round. So it's so many enticing picks and enticing players that we could pick at 14. But I'm definitely going to have to go for a corner or a safety at 14.
Yeah, I definitely really like the idea of going corner. And, my guy is Sauce Gardner. I love Sauce Gardner. I would love to get him. Now, obviously, we still got to do a lot more scouting. Not something that we've gotten super into yet. Once the NFL season is over, the Super Bowl's all done and that stuff, that's when the real scouting season gets to, be started up. But overall, there's some different places the Ravens could go. There's some guys that could potentially fall to the Ravens. If Karlaftis, the Purdue edge rusher, falls to the Ravens, could be a nice compliment to Odafe Owe, a power rusher, because, while I'm not against, I really like Ojabo as a prospect. He's a speed rusher. The Ravens could go full speed on the outside. Make it very difficult. Maybe they want to go for that nice combo, because all of a sudden when you're switching you're an offensive tackle and you're guarding Adafe Away, a crazy fast guy, and then all of a sudden, some big strong guy goes up against you. You're not ready for that change of power. You're not ready for that. It's just like a 1-2 punch with running backs. The change of pace guy. Have a change of strength pass rusher. Those types of things that allow you to shift everybody around. But overall, guy I don't want, even though I love him. I love him. I don't want Jordan Davis just for the sole fact that he can't play every down. And getting a guy in the first round that can't play every down is not worth it for me. It's not worth it. Like, you have to be able to be out there every down, especially in a league that's not running the ball up the middle every play.
Absolutely. Like, I'd rather have Trayvon Walker than Davis. And it's nothing against Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is going to be a household name. I mean, heck, if he was to go to somewhere, like LA or even Tampa Bay, places where you have those big name defensive linemen like, Aaron Donald, Ndamukong Suh, Jordan Davis can follow behind those guys' footsteps and, learn how to become an every down lineman and, get his reps and things of that nature. Or maybe even Carolina. But I also seen Carolina has been connected to Sauce Gardner. Why would they draft Sauce and also have J.C. Horn? I don't know. But hey, if it happens, can't be mad. Next player available, we'll do what we have to do. This draft, it got me tongue tied because there's so many good players out there. You literally can find good players in every round this year. And the last time that's happened, at least for us, I want to say the year we drafted Lamar, and also the year when we drafted Marlon Humphrey as well.
Yeah.
So we know how to find diamonds in the rough, but at the end of the day, it's all about having the right pieces and right coaches developing these young men into being the stars that they are. And I think that's going to be the upside to having Mike Macdonald back here in Owens Mills.
Yeah, make sure that you can develop your guys. And I wanna say that a guy that I would like more than Sauce Gardner. I don't say that lightly because Sauce Gardner is like there's two players in this draft that I would want more than Sauce Gardner. One of them's not happening no matter what. Thibodeau I would easily take over Sauce Gardner.
The top 5.
Oh, I think he should be number 1. I think Thibodeau's an absolute monster.
What happens if he falls to 14?
But I'm thinking trade up and draft Kyle Hamilton. That's my second favorite prospect in this draft. Okay. I think he's the second best overall prospect. Is Kyle Hamilton. But since I don't think the Ravens are going to trade up that high, I don't think it's very possible. But if he somehow slips to 8, 9, or 10, please pull that trigger and trade up for him, Ravens. Please do it. Like a 6'4" safety with his range and ball skills and his speed is he's one of the greatest safety prospects of all time.
That would definitely take us up a notch. More than
we missed out on Derwin.
I agree with that.
So, overall, it's going to be really interesting to see what the Ravens do with it. But it's going to be really interesting. Jonathan says Ravens need to put their money where their mouth is and pick and draft. Put their money and draft picks where their mouth is. Stop saying Lamar's the future if you don't want to invest in him. Since Giro is staying, you might as well give Lamar even more talent.
Ooh. You know what? We haven't discussed this. We can talk about it. You want to go first?
You go first on this one.
All right. So actually, I have been talking to one of my, my best buddies. We both agreed that the Ravens need change on to the offensive side of the ball and head coaching. Macdonald and I, we talk about this a lot. I would love to have Kellen Moore here as head coach and maybe T. Martin as the offensive coordinator. That's two quarterbacks with great minds, and I feel like they can work. I feel like they will work together and hand in hand, and also they will help Lamar Jackson, grow as a quarterback in this league. Um, but I say this: if Greg Roman stays this year, I do feel like this will be Lamar Jackson's last year. To throw another wrench in this situation, Hollywood will leave the following year, and Hollywood, Lamar, and AB will all be in Miami by 2025. If we do not let go of Greg Roman and find him a real offensive coordinator that really suits him. Because we're always, I don't know about you, McConnell, but I'm always in those spaces, on Twitter. Shout out to the people, shout out to the Ravens flock that are in those spaces, with Nitro, Engraven, She Talk, all those good people. But one guy, kept on saying that Lamar Jackson was a project. And it kept on bothering me because how do you call someone that threw over 3,000 yards, ran over 1,000, won the Heisman, set some records, now got his name plastered up at the stadium next to Johnny Unitas? How do you call someone of that caliber a project? No, you gave y'all mistaken Lamar Jackson as a project. This young man's been a quarterback since he's picked up a football and threw the football. He's been respected. Yeah, University of Florida sent up, so it was going to offer him, but was they was going to make him second string. But Louisville took the chance on him. When Louisville took the chance on him, Bobby Bracino didn't say, you know what, hey, you're an African American quarterback. You don't have a strong arm like that. We're going to use your legs. No, we're going to put you in the pistol. We're going to put you in the shotgun. We're going to let you stretch the field. If you see the opportunity to make something happen, go for it. Right now, Greg Roman has limited this young man. And honestly, Greg Roman, he's only good when he has a dual threat quarterback. And I do not want to see Lamar Jackson get ran down onto the ground any more than he already has. Look at Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, granted, he had his beliefs. He protested on his beliefs, and I respect that. But his career started going at a decline because there was no change in the offensive scheme, and he just was not playing to the best of his ability. In Buffalo, you had Tyrod Taylor, where Sammy Watkins, had maybe 1,000 yards, but then once that ended, it ended. Let's not forget, before Greg Roman came to Baltimore, he was a high school coach. He was coaching high school, y'all. So for the EDC, John Harbaugh, to be so invested in him to not realize that, hey, you're not making no adjustments. You're not making no real change. If your guy's saying that they're realizing what plays are being called, why things are not being different? So with me being a football fan, with me supporting Lamar Jackson, if it came down to it, I will support Lamar Jackson wherever he goes if Greg Roman is still the offensive coordinator at this upcoming season.
The Ravens need to focus on Lamar because we've seen it in the NFL. If you want to win, you need to have good quarterback play. You don't have to have a great quarterback. You need to have good quarterback play, okay? I'm putting that caveat on in there for Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not a very good quarterback, but he can play well. He can have good games. And Lamar Jackson, I'm going to make the ridiculous statement that Lamar Jackson is good, all right? They've got that covered, okay? But they need to give him the opportunity to be great because that's how you win, right? You can build the greatest team of all time, but if your quarterback can't be great, then you will not win. You will not have success. So you need to make sure that he has receivers. He has an O-line. He has everything that a quarterback could need to be great. Now he's got the tight end, right? He's got the run game, okay? He doesn't have the play calling. He doesn't have the line. And he doesn't have, I don't know, the personnel usage for the wide receivers. I feel like he's got the receivers, but like they're never on the field in the parts where he actually needs receivers to be on the field. Kind of a weird situation for that. But they absolutely need to put their money and their draft picks where their mouth is. But what they really need to do is get a scheme and get a system that works for him, not against him.
Anytime you got extra tight ends and extra fullback, who is he really throwing the ball to? You automatically know as a defensive player. I'm like, oh dang, they got one wide out, they got a tight end here, they got fullback here, they got fullback there. Oh, they running the ball, y'all. Just be ready. Contain on the outside. You know, I mean, I can't call it. And Jalen, to answer that question, AB messed up his chances already, in my opinion, in 2020. If the Ravens would have went ahead and signed on AB, I think things could have been different. But how things just went sideways, and now Antonio Brown is getting his lawyer involved with suing Tampa Bay. If this sways in his way, I don't think he gets a job back in the NFL. Would I like for him to get a job, maybe in Baltimore? Yeah, I don't see him as I don't see him being a problem child. He's going to be very high character, high spirited. Another Des Bryant, but at the same time, he's going to be with his family. It's Florida guys. But the thing is, even though he says he wants to play with Lamar Jackson, we still don't have a scheme where the ball is going to be passed around enough. So, as much I would like that to happen, it wouldn't be beneficial to his numbers, maybe to him being Hall of Fame, to his Hall of Fame records and stuff like that. So, right now I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I love AB's game. I think he's still a great player, but one of the concerns that I have is if the Ravens had I swear it always comes back to this. If the Ravens had a different offensive coordinator and the Ravens threw the ball, yeah, I think AB would be great. But the issue is, if AB comes to the Ravens, we all know what's going to happen. He's not going to be on the field. And we're all going to be mad because they're not putting him out on the field, and he's going to get upset, and rightfully so. He's one of the better receivers in the league. Of course he's going to get upset when he's not going in. But that's just going to cause drama, right? And I'm not saying AB's a problem child or anything like that. I'm saying a lot of receivers would get mad, and rightfully so, right? Like Des Bryant got upset. He didn't resign. Why? Because Des Bryant, okay, if you don't think Des Bryant was better than Willie Snead, I don't know who you were watching. Because, like, yeah, you could say, like, oh, Des Bryant's not that good anymore. He's not the same Des Bryant. Yeah, that's fair. But Willie Snead was bad. Like, he wasn't good. And Des Bryant still wasn't getting snaps. And he still wasn't getting the ball. And so, obviously, he was going to express his frustration. And the thing about Des is Des isn't the focus of the media. Antonio Brown is. Antonio Brown does anything. Mm-hmm. It is highlighted on every single social media platform, every talk show, everything. And that's just going to cause controversy, not because of him, but because of the rest of the league and what all the fans say. I don't think AB is a problem. I think it's the media and how they portray him, which is the problem. And unfortunately, that's reflecting on him. I think the same thing happened with Kaepernick, where it was just something where, like, yeah, Kaepernick could probably absolutely be a backup quarterback in the NFL, but if he goes anywhere, every single thing is highlighting on that team, and you got people obviously praising the team, then you got a lot of people bringing it, and it's like, do you need that much attention and stuff like that? I don't think it's worth it for AB at this point, but I'm a big fan of AB. I love AB's game. I don't think AB's crazy or anything like that. I just think that he's portrayed poorly, but that's kind of my thoughts on it.
I mean, on top of that, he's a wide receiver. Wide receivers act out.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Terrell Owens. Big time prima donna.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
the wild one.
Very much so. Randy Moss.
The better one.
We didn't had our characters. Hell, Shannon Sharp was one of the most highlighted, glorious tight ends and animated, in my opinion. And during Denver, instead of Denver, and here with Baltimore, especially with Baltimore, when he got with that crew. So it's all about how the organization deals with those characters. I mean, we did pretty decent with Earl Thomas. So
yeah, I don't think it's interesting to see how the Ravens approach these sorts of things. The Ravens don't like nonsense. And I'm not saying AB brings nonsense, but the media and reactions bring the nonsense. And that's not his fault. That is the fault of a lot of things. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it would be worth it, honestly, even for his sake. Because, I don't think it's worth it for him to play football because it's just so negative every time. And it's not a lot of times, I didn't think he did really, I don't know. The whole Buck situation is just kind of wild. I can't really speak as to what really happened. I don't know if anybody can.
It's 3 stories.
Yeah.
Bruce arrogant, AB, and then you got the truth. So Bruce is arrogant. AB don't care about telling what it is. At the end of the day, the truth going to come out eventually. I would say this about the Ravens organization. Ever since the Ray Rice situation, that was the finals. That was the first and that was the final straw. Steve Bisciotti and the rest of the team upstairs, they cared more about the fans say so and numbers or money versus the players. Now, granted, Ravens flock, don't start losing your cool. What Ray Rice did was very wrong. But let's be honest, that everyone upstairs knew what the situation was because Ray Rice did explain his side of what happened. Things didn't get out of hand until the video came about. And even after that situation, there's been other teams with other players, where guys still had their job. I mean, heck, our most glorified and celebrated linebacker was up for a murder case, and Art Modell handled the situation very well. And he was with Ray Lewis, from day one. It's really about how you handle the situation and how you're really there for your players. Because at the end of the day, yes, it is a business, but the Ravens organization don't always treat everything like a business. They treat these guys more like family. But when things happen, you can't just leave family high and dry. Yeah. So yes, like I said, Ray Rice was wrong, very wrong in that situation. I'm sorry that it happened to him and his and his wife and things of that nature. I'm not supporting domestic violence. All I'm saying is, you can't, always care about the money and the revenue and the numbers and stuff like that. If you really value someone under your organization, it would have been best if, hey, let's suspend him. Let's get him and his wife some counseling. If things get better and stuff like that, maybe we can bring him back on at the service suspension. Who knows? It's just really all about how you handle situations.
Yeah, it really is. And the Ravens and the NFL, it seems like, have tried to push more towards the I don't even know what to call it, but the no nonsense policy, I guess I'll say,
Yeah.
is the best way to put it. And, yes, we've seen some teams do it, but, Damon Arnett, I think he was a former 3rd-round pick from the Raiders. Maybe it was a little bit earlier. I can't remember exactly. He got, the week after Henry Ruggs was in the car crash, he was like on Instagram Live or something like that, and he like had a gun or something like that, and they cut him. They cut him straight off of that. And I want to say the Chiefs actually just signed him to their practice squad. But we see that. We see Kareem Hunt. Video of him. Was it he also in an elevator, or was it just outside of an elevator or something like that?
It was like the hotel hallway.
Yeah. Hotel hallway, like, and it took him 6 months maybe to get signed to a team. And he was a guy that was a very, very great player in Kansas City, led the league in rushing. But then you see guys like Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, hits somebody in the head with a helmet. And he's back in the NFL. And so like the way that they treat it, it's like seems very different for so many different cases, and it makes no sense. I think, yes, I was going to bring up Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon fell in the draft heavily because of what had happened at Oklahoma. And Tyreek Hill went to Oklahoma State, I believe. Ironic, both of them from Oklahoma. But like overall, the Ravens just don't want to deal with that type of stuff. And we saw it when Jordan Lasley threw the football into the lake or whatever it was. They cut him that day. So, and he was like, I learned that from Michael Crabtree. And then they cut him. And it was like, oh, man. Don't take advice from Crabtree.
Not at all. He didn't got his chain snatched. I don't know how many times from Tariq. So honestly, he ain't beat for real. So but on a high note, I guess we can change the topic. I know like Raiders. I know a lot of people get a little touchy about certain situations, and we're not talking about fleeting feathers. At the end of the day, this is just our opinions. At the end of the day, we respect everyone's opinion. We just ask you all to respect ours and don't come at us like y'all did with Ryan Meek. Well, some of y'all. We're just here, But man, listen, shout out to the 48, folks in the stream. If you're not already following the TTB page or any other social medias, please do that now because we need y'all. We're gonna be dropping out content. When it comes to these, projected picks and the guys that we're scouting and looking out for. I know you guys, waiting for that. I know y'all always asking, who's gonna be who should our pick be? What should we do? Should we keep all 10 picks? Should we trade up or should we trade back? I know y'all asking. I know y'all wondering.
And what's funny is the most fun part about scouting and drafting, it's honestly not the first round. It's the fourth rounders, the fifth rounders. That's when it gets a ton of fun because it's so many possibilities, right? The first round, there's really at most 5 guys that have a real shot at going to the team, right? Fourth, fifth round, there's 50, right? That you could be like, hey, get them in the fourth, get them in the fifth. Hey, if they fall to the sixth, that's when we get them. Like, there's so many guys at different positions that we get to go through and talk to you guys all about. So, it's very exciting, a lot of fun. It's going to be a whole experience. And I'm excited for that part. But
yeah, because in the fourth round, I'm honestly looking for our big body wide receiver.
Miles Boykin 2.0?
Not Miles Boykin.
Actually, 50.0.
No, I wouldn't compare them to Miles. Like just them, whoever they are. Whoever, I'm more,
the more recent, let's go one back in the tall wide receivers we drafted. Jaleel Scott 2.0.
I'm thinking
Or
more
let's go
Marlon.
one before that and go Brashad Perriman 2.0.
I
Let's
think
go one before that. Darren Waller 2.0. Or
I
Darren
would
Waller,
take,
I think, was
I
after
would take
Perriman,
Marlon
but
Brown. I would take Marlon Brown before any of them guys. Honestly, at least I knew I was going to get some type of production. You know,
yeah,
um,
for 1 year.
hey, as long as it's a
Hey,
Super
that's
Bowl.
1 year production, so I guess that's good.
Ooh, I don't think so, Jalen. There's no need for us to do that.
Not
Oh,
heavy.
at least three guys. Like everybody said, oh yeah, we're gonna come back strong. We got Jawan James. No, I don't trust Jawan James. Go watch his highlights. Jawan James was out there getting work. That's the reason that he wasn't signed back to the Denver Broncos and stuff like that. Villanueva, I feel like should definitely be cut over the season. Before the season start. But hey, I'm not the GM. If we don't, dang, I forgot. We gotta keep on putting it out there. If we don't get an extension from Bradley Bozeman, even though Bradley Bozeman breaking down his last conversation, what gave us like the indication. I don't know about you, but it definitely gave me the indication that he may not be with the Ravens anymore. And
Yeah.
if he's not with us anymore, that is one of the stupidest decisions we can make on this all season, especially with this year being, Lamar Jackson's contract year, officially his contract year. Um, so I know we've been paired with Lindenbaum out of Iowa. I don't want us to use our 14 pick. I'm sorry, on a center. I really don't want us to use our 14 pick on a lineman. I feel like we can get our right tackle in the third round. I feel like we can go ahead and find a way to sign Bradley Bozeman to a nice 3-year cheap deal, possibly. Um, Ben Cleveland's playing. He played solid those last couple games at left guard. I mean, we did bring him in because he's going to be the future. I don't know why we gave Ben Power so many games at starting left guard, but hey, it is what it is. You got Patrick McCarry at that can play all positions on that offensive line, so that's good. You got Cologne. He can also step in at center, but at the same time, Lamar Jackson has that relationship already established with Bradley Bozeman, and you can't keep on changing it up. It's like going from one relationship to another. You can't keep on changing your girlfriend or changing your boyfriend. Sometimes, if you really like that person, you need to just go ahead and stay with them and work it on out.
Yeah. We should take Ikem Ekwonu. I honestly have no idea how I pronounced that. Let me know if that was terrible or right or whatever, because I got no clue. That was a complete guess.
Is he coming out of Mississippi State?
I believe so. Let's see here. Now I gotta look him up. Sorry, guys, I gotta look him up to be reminded. Ikem Ekwonu. All right, here it is. Okay. Oh, he's the NC State tackle.
Okay.
Yeah. I know who that guy is. I just don't want to go O-line this early. I feel like yes, the Ravens need O-line, but O-line I feel like is easier to find like early production in the later rounds than it is for corner, safety, edge, and that's what we really need.
If it was a left tackle need, then yeah, go for it first round. But literally, you can find a right tackle in the third round. And Dave Leahy, if he does not do good during the combines, let's hope for another OBJ situation without him wanting to make the move with left tackle. Maybe we can get him in the third round. That's a big body, 6'9", and I would love that protecting Lamar Jackson, honestly. So I hope he falls. Darian Kennard, boy, he is not going into the draft this year. I would love for us to get him in round 2 for the University of Kentucky. I've been saying he's going to be a big name. Now, if we go ahead and sign, a Hurst or a Ricky Wagner or something like that for 1 year, and then go for Darius Kennard, the next year, I'm all for it. But Darius Kennard is not going. It's not going to be in this year's draft. He elected to play his senior year.
Yeah, Kennard is definitely someone that I like, but
It's nasty.
Again,
It reminds me of Penny Sewell.
He's definitely a fun one. Definitely someone that everyone should keep their eye out for in years to come. But it's very interesting to look at. Oh no, Caleb. Oh no, Caleb with the disrespect to my man Daniel Falehi. Oh no,
blasphemy. So no. I mean, at this point, it sounds like you guys want us to go draft Trevor Penning, because Trevor Penning can play both sides left tackle and right tackle. The thing is, he is a first round pick.
That's the difference, right? You know, people had questions about Orlando Brown Jr.'s work ethic. People had questions about Orlando Brown Jr.'s ability, really. But he had the size. And the Ravens turned that size into an all-pro, right? Absolutely. That's what we're looking at with these offensive linemen in, you know, the middle rounds. And Cam Neal, yes, Evan Neal is definitely the top offensive lineman in the draft. I think he's like the number 3 overall rated player. But yeah, he's a monster. But there's no way he's fallen. So what if he falls past 5? A team's trading up to draft him, and it won't be the Ravens.
Hold on, Mr. Go to Mr. Chief.
Where is it?
It's right before Jonathan.
Right before Jonathan. Ah, there it is. There it is. Ah, our guy.
Mr. Chief, why would we do that? We have the original. We don't need another duplicator.
I'm going to say let's do it. Let's trade Tyler Huntley and then draft Malik Cunningham as the backup. It's the only way. It's the only way I would do it.
Okay. I'm cool. I've been there. Listen, since Snoop been starting, what's been my slogan? Let's get this man stocked up and let's get him more out of here for another pick. So I'm all for it. But at the same time, why would I bring in Malik Cunningham where he could be starting somewhere? So if you bring in Malik Cunningham, you're pretty much telling me that you're not going to get Lamar Jackson's contract done.
I think the Ravens can become a farm for all of the athletic quarterbacks, and the Ravens just trade them. Like, they're like, all right, Lamar misses a fourth quarter. Boom, come in, score 14 points. Yeah, we'll take a 4th-round pick. And just every year, they just like, it's just an investment every year that the Ravens make. And they just figure this is the next guy.
So you actually put 10 years of Greg Roman at this point.
I think I've already come to the acceptance that we got 10 years of Greg Roman. So I'm figuring let's make the best of it, get some picks out of it.
At this point, you know, if Greg Roman is here for like another year, I'm going to start a petition, you know. Get him out of here, man.
We should have started a petition after 2 years ago.
Literally, this year we're gonna get some hashtags, you know, going, you know, for the streams and all that stuff like that. Drop in the chat what would y'all like our hashtags to be, and you know, whatever these hashtags are, you got to smash them via Twitter, all that as well when you're talking to us, you know, in the social media world. So let us know what you guys would like for us to have as far as hashtags, because it's going. My first one's going to be hashtag G-Ro gotta go. All season, all this upcoming season, even when I'm watching the draft. Hashtag G-Ro
I think we got to come up with some. You know, remember you guys got so creative when we were coming up with Sack Daddy nicknames. We got to get some. We got to get back on that grind, but with the Greg Roman hashtags. And I see Cam Neal's got the G-Ro gotta go.
Yeah, I
Um,
like that. I likes that.
what about just Gino? I like this one, Boyd. I like this one.
There
row,
it
row,
is.
row your boat out of
There it is.
Baltimore.
Hashtag TTB family getting here. That's what I love. I love it when the fam gets active, man, in the chat.
Oh
Love it.
man, this one's hashtag row, row, row your boat out of Baltimore. Love it. There's got to be other ones. So Rowan.
And watch, we're gonna so okay. With this upcoming season, would you consider this season a super gremlin revenge season?
Oh, what?
Okay. So you don't listen to Kodak Black. I see where we're going with this.
I do not. I was like, what did you just say? I was like, I don't know what you.
Yo, Kodak Black made a song recently called Super Gremlin.
Okay.
We all know that Kodak Black and Lamar Jackson are childhood friends. So, if you listen to the song, you're gonna laugh. If you gotta ask me any question, I'll break it down to you. Anyway, is this upcoming season a revenge season for Lamar? Well, for the offense, period.
No, because Greg Roman's here, so there can't. It's like Greg Roman just puts a damper on everything positive with the Ravens offense, with the Ravens organization. Like we'll sign, like I mean, I'm gonna even be very unrealistic. We'll sign Bobby Wagner, and I'll be like, awesome, but we got Greg Roman, man. Like it's holding him back, even though he has like no direct impact on him. I'm still just like, oh, but Greg Roman. I mean, if we didn't have Greg Roman, that signing would be so much better. That draft pick would be so much better.
It's gonna be so rough. Like, how many times are we gonna see our wide receivers run into each other? I mean, it was the bad, and the sad thing is, it was a lot of highlights. Like, I think this was the first time a tight end wide receiver in the Baltimore Ravens organization went for 1,000 yards apiece.
Yep.
I mean, that's dope. But at the same time, we broke even.
And also, it was the first time since '96, the Ravens' first season, where they've had just 2,000-yard players. So yeah, sure, passing the ball is great. Remember Joe Flacco's best passing season? The Ravens were terrible. Like it was like by far the worst season ever with Joe Flacco. Like I don't understand this. Like, oh yeah, the passing game. It's like, yeah, sure, it's cool to get those stats. It's cool Greg Roman put up some like some numbers, and that's part of the thing that Ryan Mink was talking about. And I'm not trying to go out there and like, guys, it's okay. Like I made a video about what Ryan Mink said, but guys, don't go after him. Like it's all good. Like we all have our own opinions, but he was saying like Greg Roman's putting up these numbers. Like, oh, the Ravens were 9th in total offense and 14th passing or whatever it was. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but that doesn't matter. Remember when Joe Flacco had his only 4,000-yard season? The Ravens were terrible. They were not good. So, like, yes, it's nice to put up stats. It's one thing to win. Yeah, Lamar didn't have great passing stats this year. What did Lamar do? He won. Like, that's what matters in the end. Winning.
Jalen. First of all, 2K players don't blame Ronnie. They blame
Mike Wang.
Right. Like, I didn't even play 2K.
I'd still be blaming Ronnie though. Even though Ronnie's got nothing to do with it.
Ronnie is literally the face of 2K at this point. But at the same time, it's like, even this year, I haven't played 2K in maybe 2-3 years. I'm gonna get back on it this year. Like I said, TTB family, we're gonna get the game. We're gonna get the gaming things started up this year. It's just been hard for me to get the PS5 and all that. But hey, hopefully, I'm hoping by August I can get that PS5. Cross my fingers. If anybody got a plug, connect, whatever, let us know. Follow me on Twitter at Sky's Limit 39. You know what to do. But anyway, back to the dribbling. Like, why would you nerf the dribbling this year? I watch a lot on Twitch, and y'all literally, Mike Wayne literally took away from the bread and butter of a lot of point guards. But who else are we going to blame? We gotta blame Roman and John Harbaugh. Honestly, as many times. Matter of fact, before I go on this rant, let's do this. I don't know about you, McConnell, but I was watching the Tennessee Titans and Bengals game. One thing I did heard was Zach Taylor and what's his name, Joey B. Joey B with the Stogie. They have a very, very, very tight relationship. They talk about his ethic, his work ethic. They talk about how he remembers the plays, how he's a visual learner, and stuff like that. And I believe is this his second year in the NFL? Or
yeah, second year. They both came in same year.
Got you. So now this is him in his second year. Zach Taylor's got so much trust for Joey B that he let this young man call his own audibles. He let this man check down from whatever set play was given to him. But we never see this happen with Lamar Jackson. With Lamar Jackson, we see the play coming in late. We see, snaps getting off late and stuff like that. We don't see the pre-snap adjustments and things of that nature. We don't see the adjustments in game. There is a disconnect with the offensive coordinator and our supposed to be franchise QB. It's not a disconnect with the head coach, because long as Action Jackson is making things happen, John Harbaugh is happy. Hey, Lamar, you want to go for two? Hey, man, if you want to go for two, man, I'm happy that you want to go for it. Go for it, bro. John gives all his support, but at the end of the day, it's the connection, the chemistry is off, in my opinion. From my bird eye view. I'm not in Orange Mills. I don't really know. But when I'm watching these games, I don't know about y'all TCB family, but it doesn't look like, the trust is not there. And he's been here too long, Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson, for them not to have the trust and chemistry that they should be for this team to elevate and go to the next level.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that he's not allowed to do some of the things that he needs to do is kind of ridiculous, and we see it all the time, and it's very frustrating. But those are the types of things that can happen when you're just dealing with someone like Greg Roman, who's just like, yeah, I'm not going to change. He hasn't changed in 10 years. He got the Ravens one Super Bowl. Too bad he was coaching for the other team. But thanks, Greg Roman, for calling the 4 worst possible plays you could at the goal line in the Super Bowl with the game on the line. How did the Ravens see that? How did Harbaugh see that and be like, you know what? That's the guy I want. We won off of terrible play calling in that Super Bowl on that goal line. They could have just handed the ball off to Frank Gore. Now, I'm happy they didn't. But they could have just handed that ball off to Frank Gore and he was scoring. Frank Gore would have scored 100%.
Yeah, most definitely. I know it's supposed to be, about Mike Macdonald and everything like that, but it all started when Wink Martindale got fired first and Greg Roman didn't get fired first. So until we hear something, unfortunately, because I don't know about you all, but I feel like it's the same thing's about to happen. I feel like they're even willing to let Patrick Ricard go and try, to see what free agency like. and bring back in Ben Mason. And it's funny that we even signed Ben Mason to a deal when didn't him and John have bad blood in
Yeah,
preseason already last year.
that they did.
So I don't know, man. Um, I definitely feel like we should be going single back, stretch the field, three wide receivers. Rashad Bateman, Hollywood got to get out there. I don't know if we add a veteran wide receiver that can still give us good play, or go for John Mechie in the fourth round. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what this offense is going to look like. Well, I kind of do, but I don't want it to look like what it's been looking like for the past couple of years. And I don't want my franchise QB to continue being upset and trying to make things happen in a BS play calling. Because this has been too long. This has been too long for Greg to be here and Lamar to continue being stagnant. Now, granted, I do chastise Lamar as well because yes, everybody loves the energy, the fire that he shows on the sideline. When he goes forth and out, or how he says "my bad," his fault, and all that. But at the same time, you got to go back in that next possession. You got to make up for it. You can't go. You can't. You can't throw a fit or show emotion on the sideline at the one bad possession and then get back out there and still do the same thing. No, when you seen Tom Brady, cuss and fuss and slam his helmet down the ground, what do you do next possession? He'll get you a touchdown. Peyton Manning, you didn't see Peyton Manning do a lot of emotion, but when he messed up, man,
Yeah,
you gotta get that. He'll get back out there, get it done. So I love the way Lamar Jackson, rallied his team, how he's willing to take the fault at the same time, but at the same time, you still got to go ahead and make something happen that next possession. So I want him to continue, growing as a leader and continue taking those next steps as well.
absolutely. All right, guys, do you have any other questions? I don't see a lot of questions in here. I see a lot of comments, good comments. Jonathan says Ravens interviewed outside candidates just to say they did. Harbs knew all along he was going to pick Macdonald to replace Wink. Yeah, I saw someone put out that Jenna Lane at ESPN said that the Ravens interviewed Bucs inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell tonight. I don't know if it was a guarantee that he was going to bring him in, but I think they just knew, hey, we want to bring in this type of guy, and they probably did the interview, and they're like, you know what? We liked him earlier. He didn't have any defensive coordinator experience, anything at that level. They're like, he got his 1 year, and it was like, okay, yeah, he looked pretty good. Now let's give him that shot. So I like it. I'm a big fan of it, but we'll see. Hopefully it gets done. I do like it. I do think it's a really smart move.
All right, what time was the Baltimore?
We don't have the money. We don't
Don't
have
have
the
the money.
money.
Don't have the money. Don't have the offensive scheme that's going to benefit a guy like him. Same reason Allen Robinson didn't take the deal or wasn't willing to take a deal here in Baltimore.
Mike Macdonald runs a mixed scheme. He runs a bit of both. So I don't know. He runs mixed. He doesn't just run he obviously has come from a 3-4 when he was under Wink, but at the same time, like he's definitely run a fair bit of 4-3 fronts. So that's the biggest thing. As long as he's keeping Adafe on the edge, that's all I care about. Obviously it's more likely that that's going to happen when we're playing a 4-3, but as long as he's on the edge, that's all I care about. That's really all I care about. And Patrick Quinn's at will, but
that's going to be interesting to see, with this style of defense, how it helps out Patrick Queen's career because put him at the will inside linebacker. He went from bottom tier to all right. We remember that guy. So I don't know if Mike Macdonald's going to want him to take more of a Mike role with the multiple defense, but he's going to be definitely going to be on the field at all times.
Yeah.
It's just going to come down to how he grows as a player this offseason and how he understands this playbook, and hopefully with this defense, this upcoming year, there's no confusion. How many times did we see broken plays or broken assignments this past season, and even before last season? Because at one point, I think we were blaming on Marcus Peters always gambling. With Marcus Peters being out, we see that it wasn't Marcus. It was just it was always confusion. Even Marlon said something, made a comment. Didn't speak no more on it, but communication was off. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how things are addressed and adjusted this upcoming year.
Absolutely. It's going to be really interesting to see. So many different aspects to look at. The pass rush, the corners, the secondary, the offensive line, the wide receivers. What do the Ravens do with those positions? And it maybe some of the most important decisions the Ravens have had to make in recent memory, because this is, if the Ravens don't do a good job, Lamar's not going to want to stay. So, it's huge, what the Ravens are having to go through. So I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys have any questions, things like that you want us to talk about before we kind of wrap up? Wow, we've been live for an hour and 17 minutes. We're killing it.
Shout out to CoCap, giving us, the best 10 years of his career. Two-time Super Bowl champion, one of the best special team guys out there, even playing some downs for us this year too. He's had a great run, and I love that he retired as a Baltimore Raven as well.
Yeah, CoCap definitely a massive piece for the Ravens. Has been since he ever started his career. My favorite moment of CoCap gotta be when he got the pick 2. Was it pick 2? Yeah, it was a pick 2 in the preseason. Put up the 25 for Trey Walker. Rest in peace. I think his name was Trey Walker, right? I was trying to remember. I think it was Trey Walker. Rest in peace. But that was always a special moment. Kept the streak alive. Walked it off basically. And always remember that. But the fake punt specialist, the Ravens love to run that fake punt with Levine. So, I don't know. That's just, what's to say? And Spooky J, absolutely not. No. No, I'm not resigning. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. I'm sorry, man. Like I said, I love the game of football, and I love some of these star players out here. Like as much as I do not like Jamar Chase being in a Bengals jersey, I respect the young man's game. I love what he does. I love what he brings to the field, and for him to be a rookie to have 2 100-yard games back to back in the playoffs, that's an amazing feat. But if Lamar Jackson decides to walk, like I said, don't be surprised in 2025 that him, Hollywood, and AB in Miami. Family connection. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it could happen.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on with the Ravens. It's hard to like figure out what to think about all of it. Harbaugh getting the extension, Macdonald coming, a lot of stuff, a lot of big stuff, a lot of important stuff. But I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to talk about tonight, Joshua?
I'm pretty good. Sore as hell from working out. Everybody, even in these times. Still stay safe, stay well. Make sure y'all drink y'all oolong tea, your green tea, stuff like that. Get your energy up. And honestly, take this year. If you wanted to do something, just go out there and do it.
Yeah.
That's literally.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for the stream. Thank you all for coming in. You guys asked some great questions, had some great topics to talk about. Love talking with you guys. Shout out to you guys, though, for keeping it much more entertaining and lively in the chat. Makes it a lot easier to do the streams when it's like that. So thank you all. Obviously, we'll be talking about all this type of stuff. And Joshua and I are going to get back to the off-season kind of routine where we're able to like record videos at once, and so we'll be able to record them in longer segments. So if you have things you want us to talk about in like a longer video, let us know in YouTube comments or Twitter comments, things like that, and we'll definitely talk about them. But thank you, everybody. We'll see all of you again next time.